You don't exactly think of murder when someone mentions a birthday celebration. Yes, a joyous occasion that usually comes with laughter, drinks, and of course cake. But it could end in a very, very disturbing way. Welcome to Fear Files, where we discuss and dissect the most mysterious, terrifying and mind-bending cases from all over the world. It was supposed to be a fun night out for a couple and some of their friends. But as it turns out, nothing is as it seems. Sit back, relax, and keep your ears open as we talk about the tragic case of Tatiane Spitzner. We hope you packed your bags because we're off to Brazil. Yes, the home of fantastic football, or as most of us call it, soccer, crazy carnivals, in a good way of course, phenomenal food, and overall good vibes. Yes, Brazil is considered one of the most beautiful countries in the world. But as we all know, everything has a bad side directly proportional to the good. While murder rates have been going down significantly in Brazil, which is a wonderful thing, another problem has emerged: femicide. This means the killing of a woman as a result of domestic violence. Unfortunately, it's on the rise, according to a report published in 2019 by the Brazilian Public Security Forum. But this isn't happening in just one place. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 3 women worldwide have been subjected to violence by their partner in their lifetime. Fortunately, most women manage to recover from the abuse, but Tatiane Spitzner was not so lucky. Tatiane Spitzner, aged 29, was a successful lawyer who lived in Guarapuava, a city with a population of 182,644. Located in the mid-south of the Parana state in Brazil. It is also known as the largest municipality in that state by area. She and her spouse, Luis Felipe Manveiler, have been married for a little over 5 years. Aged 32, Luis was a university biology lecturer and an avid proponent of a healthy lifestyle, being involved in different physical activities on which he placed a high degree of importance. The two met in early 2013, and right after laying his eyes on her, Luis Felipe fell in love. He asked beautiful Tatiana out in August the same year. As time went on, the two developed feelings for each other, and they decided to take the next step in their relationship. On November the 15th, according to Luis Felipe's statement, he asked for her hand in marriage, and the two got engaged. The couple seemed to be clicking so well, and that's why the engagement lasted only a little over 2 weeks. On December the 3rd, 2013, the two lovebirds got married and exchanged rings in Guarapuava. It was the happiest day of their lives. Luis Felipe vowed to take care of his wife and provide for her as long as he lived. But as we all know, vows are sometimes broken, unfortunately. It was Luis Felipe's birthday when tragedy struck. On a day which was supposed to be filled with laughter and positive energy, the two got into a fight. The entire argument started when Tatiana was a couple of minutes late coming home. Her husband was waiting for her, all dressed up, because they were about to meet some friends at a local restaurant. His wife went to a nail appointment, wanting to look her best for her husband, and it took longer than expected. The volatile character of Luis Felipe made an appearance right when Tatiana came through the door. He started the argument, saying that she was late and they had to be there already. Publicly, Manveiler was regarded as a cultured and educated man, but it would seem that he was somewhat distant. Unlike Tatiana, his wife, who had a large group of friends and numerous family, the university professor was the total opposite. No one in Guarapuava knew much about his past life. It's only known that he had a brother and a sister. His father died a couple of years before 2018, and his mother was battling cancer. According to businessman Marcelo Virtuoso, aged 35, owner of Uplay Fitness Gym in Guarapuava, Luis Felipe would go to the gym, greet people, train and leave. Quote, he wouldn't talk to anyone. Manveiler was truly passionate about physical growth. Quote, from the beginning of the year until now, he's gotten really big, Virtuoso said. The police even found a large stash of anabolic steroids in the couple's apartment. Many people speculate that his bursts of aggression and short temper could have been a side effect of the illegal supplements he was taking. Psychiatrist Adriano Sigal from the endocrinology clinic at Hospital das Clínicas states that, quote, the use of steroids can lead to psychiatric disorders, irritability, and also to transient testicular atrophy. By increasing his testosterone levels, it was harder for him to control his anger. Of course, this isn't by any means an excuse for what was about to happen. The couple eventually arrived at the restaurant, where Tatiana's friends were waiting for them. They all wished Luis Felipe a happy birthday, and it seemed that the waters cooled and they would have a good time. According to the perpetrator's statement, they both drank that night and they both got a little bit tipsy. Other reports say another fight broke out between the two when Tatiana found supposed evidence of her husband talking to another woman on Instagram. But Luis Felipe said in his defense that when they got there, he posted a story on his Instagram account telling his followers that it was his birthday. Then he received several messages from his online friends, including some coming from different women. Even though he accused his wife of being jealous, every story has two sides. Let's talk about Tatiana for a second. One of her closest friends, Juliana Santos, aged 35, came out publicly saying that Luis Felipe was the jealous one, resorting even to physical violence. Quote, Tati was very reserved with personal matters, but with me she opened up. The first time she complained about Luis Felipe, she said that his jealousy bothered her, Julianne told the police after the tragedy took place. At the time when Luis Felipe's jealousy started to intensify, Tatiana was living with her husband in Germany, where he was taking a graduate course. It's not clear why he started acting so possessive towards his wife, but one thing was clear: their relationship started to fall apart. Because of the distance between them, Tatiana and her friends didn't talk too much, and they drifted apart. But as soon as the couple returned to Guarapuava, they resumed contact. Quote, Tati called me in November to congratulate me on my birthday, and she already wanted to meet me for coffee. At that point, the complaints became more incisive. She even talked about divorce because she was so scared. But the bureaucracy that comes with it made Tatiana dismiss the idea, her friend told the police. On March the 8th, International Women's Day, Tati and Ju met in the gym and arranged another outing over coffee. Quote, things were becoming more serious, says Julianne. Quote, she opened up. She said that Luis Felipe was treating her very badly, demeaning her in front of the others, doing everything to contradict her, and even said that he got to the point of hating her. Everyone that was interviewed in Guarapuava, including those not so close, said that Tatiana was, quote, a person without any evil inside of her, the kind that trusted others and saw the good in everything. You could tell the most incredible story and she would believe you. Tati was cheerful, she loved parties, trips, friends. So much so that on the day it all happened, those closest to her knew with certainty that it wasn't a case of suicide. What exactly did happen between Tatiana and Luis Felipe? Let's dive deeper into the case. After the party that turned into an argument between the two headed towards Golden Gate Building in downtown Guarapuava, where the two had their apartment. Security cameras in the city centre where they resided captured a detailed account of the incident. It all begins with a vehicle pulling up outside the building. Several images showcase the brutality of the university professor as he slapped his wife several times across the face. This all happened even before they could leave the vehicle. Tatiane tried desperately to fight him off, but his brute strength was obviously too much for the 29-year-old lawyer. But it didn't end there. The husband continued to torment Tatiane even after they got out of the car. The sickening display of violence continued in the underground park of their building. The brute battered her without remorse, overpowering her every attempt to defend herself. She tried to run away through the parking lot, but the man chased her down and grabbed hold of Tatiane, hitting her again and again. She somehow managed to escape and ran towards the elevator. CCTV images show a desperate Tatiane running for her life. She was chased yet again by her husband. The woman managed to get into the elevator first and frantically pushed the button so that the door led and making her fall to the floor. Those were the last images found when Tatiane was breathing. Soon after, and went inside their apartment. It's not clear exactly what happened there. The outcome was horrible. It seemed that about 15 minutes had passed since they left the elevator. We can only imagine the brutality that took place behind closed doors. Other CCTV footage taken from the cameras outside the building, right in front of the entrance, shows a body dropping on the pavement, right there on the sidewalk. The images are so brutal that they have been blurred. But the most shocking thing was about to happen. Not knowing what to do and fearing the consequences of his actions, Louis Philippe leaves his apartment. He goes down, exits the building, and then takes the corpse from the sidewalk, carrying it inside. He was hoping that no one had seen the gruesome scene. Next, the murderer is seen taking Tatiane's body into the elevator, putting her down on the floor, and then raising his hands in a gesture that expresses remorse and shock. But this was all, of course, done for the cameras. After he arrives at his floor, Louis Philippe takes the body out of the elevator before coming back with a rag and starts to wipe what seems to be blood from the walls and the floor. These scenes are more shocking when you take into account the ease with which he cleans his tracks. After all of this, the aggressor tried to escape by coming back down and getting his car. Louis Philippe drove away from where it all happened, but was soon found by the police after several residents called to report seeing a man picking up a victim's body from the pavement. One witness even recounted hearing the husband shouting, quote, "My love, wake up." The murderer drove a long distance of 185 miles or 300 kilometers from his apartment complex. He was found so quickly only because he crashed his car on the motorway. Louis Philippe, when asked why he ran away, said that he fled the scene because he was, quote, too disturbed by the images of his wife jumping off of the balcony. According to the report, there was no evidence of any chemical reaction that took place in Tatiane's body prior to her falling to her death. No traces of adrenaline or cortisol were present, which would indicate fear or awareness of plummeting to the ground. Experts say that the young woman was already dead when she hit the pavement. She also had high alcohol content in her blood, which was normal taking into consideration that they had come home from a birthday celebration. The lawyer also suffered multiple fractures to the rest of her body, consistent with a 40-foot drop onto concrete pavement. Upon further investigation, the imprints of a pair of hands were discovered on her throat. Her hyoid bone, located at the front of her neck, was fractured. This injury is commonly associated with strangulation, further strengthening the theory which said Tatiane was already dead prior to falling on the pavement. Criminal prosecutor Diana Rampazzo also gave the following statement, quote, "Our investigation proves that the victim was killed inside the apartment by asphyxiation, and her body was thrown over the balcony of the apartment. We believe the accused then took the elevator to the ground floor and collected Tatiane's body, taking it back up to the apartment in the elevator." harrowing account of the events leading up to the lawyer's murder paints a vivid picture of the spousal violence she endured. Close friends of the woman allege she disclosed that she was afraid of her husband, whom she accused of mistreating her, and that she wanted a divorce. These claims were seen in a series of messages sent months before her death. The husband's defense counsel, on the other hand, maintained that the pair had a happy relationship. But this was far from a happy relationship. Other sources among Tatiana's friends said the following, quote, "Tati complained to me one day that she and Louis Philippe hadn't had sex for over a month." The WhatsApp conversations between the two friends provided a clear picture of the type of relationship Tatiana was in. Quote, "We started talking a lot. She told me everything. She said that Louis Philippe didn't look for her in bed. She tried to get closer, but he pushed her away and said he was disgusted by her. This doesn't seem like a healthy relationship to us by any means." Other facts about the mistreating of Tatiana would come to surface after a thorough investigation took place. According to reports made by witnesses and contained in the deputy's complaint, the victim's husband used to call her humiliating nicknames, such as albino dung for her skin colour. Besides, he would also destroy Tatiana's clothing if he didn't like it. He had to approve in order for her to wear anything new. Manweiler practiced all forms of violence against Tatiane Spitzner. The suspect did not help her with any of the housework, not even to carry the groceries. Also, when she requested that they would hire someone to come and clean the house regularly, once a week, he refused, telling her that she has to be the one that does it. Tatiana was also prevented by Manweiler from using her own money, which she'd earned by working as a lawyer. If she would buy clothes, Louis Philippe would have to agree, but if she did buy something without him knowing, the second he would find out about it, he would tear the piece of clothing and throw it away. Following the events that took place in July 2018, Louis Philippe Manweiler was sentenced to 30 years in prison for murder, a crime that many would classify as femicide. In addition to the initial sentence received after ending his wife's life, Louis Philippe was also convicted of procedural fraud, which increased his sentence by 1 year, 9 months and 18 days. He has been detained in the industrial penitentiary of Guarapuava since then. The trial lasted 7 days, and the conviction was made by a jury formed entirely of men. During the trial, he even apologised to the victim's family for the assaults, but continued to deny the murder, saying that his wife jumped on her own from the balcony, committing suicide, even though all the evidence found points towards the opposite direction. The lawyer, Claudio Dalladone, who defended Louis Philippe Manweiler, said the decision was, quote, "clearly contrary to the evidence of the case, and that the defence will appeal and seek the annulment of the jury." This did not happen. The lawyer defending Tatiane Spitzner's family, Gustavo Scandolari, said that he considers the result a milestone in the fight against femicide. Scandolari pointed out, quote, "The sentence of conviction is a satisfaction to the family. It is a clear message from the Guarapuavan society and all Brazilian citizens against gender violence and all forms of domestic violence." The jurors clearly understood that it was a case of conviction based on a lot of evidence. The judiciary has signed a proportional, fair penalty, and it will be registered to motivate more and more actions to encourage people to report cases of violence against women. After the trial and the horrific death of the young lawyer, her sister, Luana Spitzner, created an Instagram page called Todos por Tatiana, meaning everyone for Tatiana. She created this profile to bring awareness towards femicide, a phenomenon that continues to grow in Brazil and throughout the entire world. Luana's page managed to gather over 60,000 followers that believe in ending the violence against women. We believe that any cause worth spreading awareness for must be talked about. So, in honour of Tatiana, we prepare some facts that shed light on how serious the situation is and some advice on how we can try and stop it. Most violence against women is perpetrated by current or former husbands or intimate partners. More than 640 million women aged 15 and older have been subjected to intimate partner violence. 26% of women were aged 15 and older. Of those who have been in a relationship, almost 1 in 4 adolescent girls aged 15 to 19, that's 24%, have experienced physical and/or sexual violence from an intimate partner or husband. 16% of young women aged 15 to 24 experienced this violence in the past 12 months. In 2018, an estimated 1 in 7 women had experienced physical and/or sexual violence from an intimate partner or husband in the last 12 months. 13% of these women were aged 15 to 49. These numbers do not reflect the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has increased risk factors for violence against women. 137 women are killed by a member of their family every day. It's estimated that 87,000 women who were intentionally killed in 2017 globally, more than half, which is 50,000 of them, were killed by intimate partners or family members. More than a third, 30,000, of the women intentionally killed in 2017 were killed by their current or former intimate partner. Tatiana talked to her friends about the ways in which her husband would treat her. They all listened, but never really understood what was going on. Tatiana's cry for help was ignored even by the people who cared about her the most. If they had taken a stand against Louis Philippe, and if they had talked with a more capable authority, well, perhaps Tatiana would still be alive right now. We must remember that Tatiana did everything she could to escape with her life. That wasn't enough. She needed help, and so do many other women around the world. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to speak up. We like our videos to be not just interesting, but also educational. In this crazy world we live in, if you have a chance to spread a positive message out there, no matter the means, and help someone in need, then why not do it? Comment down below if you or someone you know has been through a similar situation. Let's spread awareness as much as we can, and don't be afraid to speak up. We're all here for each other. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, click that notification bell so you can get updated each time we post another case. Is there one you'd be interested in seeing? Write it in the comments below. And until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes peeled. You never know what's lurking in the shadows.